Hello everyone, it's me, Dead Hatter, and welcome to 3 short horror stories. Number 1, The Cabin. A man went hunting. This man's name was Jonathan, I believe. Anyway, Jonathan went hunting one day. Out, but a blizzard came upon him before he even knew it was coming. Now, this was because inside of his small little, tree stand, he had fallen asleep. And when he woke up, there was snow everywhere, and it was so dark that he couldn't see anything. Now, Jonathan didn't plan ahead very well because he walked the entire way to his tree stand, which was a good a good hour walk actually away from his house. Now, his tree stand, he knew, was not going to protect him throughout the night. So he got out and he began walking through the woods, searching for somewhere that he could stay so he didn't die due to the elements, or whatever animals might find him. Now, Jonathan walked through the woods for a good 30 minutes, and he found an old hunting cabin. He thought that the light of God must have shone down upon him, because there was no way in hell he would have ever found this. He decided to stay there, and if anyone was there, he would explain himself in the morning. So, Jonathan went in. He walked in, and he flipped on the light. Now, the moment he did, he was pretty scared, because as he looked around, he saw pictures, each picture with a black background. But in the pictures were the most horrifying faces he'd ever seen. Distorted, rotting, torn apart, inhuman, demonic faces, and they were all staring directly at him. It seemed no matter where he moved, the pictures were all always staring directly at him. So he decided to try his best to ignore this, and eventually he found a couch and he fell asleep on it. When he woke up in the morning, however, and he looked around, he saw that there were no paintings on the walls, only windows. Number 2, The Dripping Sink. One day, a young girl by the name of Mallory was sleeping when, all of a sudden, she hears her sink dripping. Now, this isn't too strange, but it was annoying, so she got up, she walked in to her bathroom, and she turned it off. She went back to bed, but had a little bit of trouble falling asleep, feeling uneasy for a reason she didn't know. She called for her dog to come, and she put her hand down off the bed. She then felt something come out from under the bed and start licking her fingers. She assumed it was her dog, so she petted his head and eventually fell back asleep. She woke up again to the sound of the sink dripping again. Now, confused, she got up, she reached under the bed, felt her dog, and the dog licked her again. She got up and she walked into the bathroom. She turned on the light and she saw that the sink wasn't dripping. Instead, hanging upside down in the shower was her dog, and the dripping sound was the dog's blood. And in the dog's blood, written on the mirror, were the words, "People can lick too." Once, there was a man. His name escapes me, but he had a family. And one night, he heard his son calling for him. His son sounded terrified, so he got up, and when he went to make sure his wife was there and okay, she was gone. He assumed that she had gone to check on their son, so he rolled over and went back to sleep. But he heard his son crying for him again. He got up and he walked into his son's room. But when he got in there, His son was nowhere to be found. He looked everywhere around the house, and he didn't find him. Then he heard what sounded like his wife screaming from in his bedroom. He ran back to his bedroom, and he looked around. He heard something moving under the bed, so he looked, and there he saw his wife dead, and his son cowering in fear. Confused, he asked his son what was wrong, as his son looked behind him, and he screamed. The man slowly turned around, and he saw the most horrifying creature he had ever seen. It was long. It was hairless in some places, but with patches of mangy, greasy hair in others. The only attribute on its face was a huge, unfading grin. All of its joints were bent backwards, and its fingers were unnaturally long. You could see its veins and a ton of bruises right under the skin. It looked at the man, and in his wife's voice said, "Honey, could you come here for a minute?" The man, scared, looked under the bed to grab his son, but saw his son was dead too. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye and sweet screams.